Absolutely, absolutely. Hirara pick, it's quite exciting to see because I don't think we've seen Vival go on her signature assassins for so long. I think the last time we saw it was maybe one or a couple years ago.
Too long.
It's been too long. It's been too long. And her being on the hands of a Hirara, she has such a high ceiling as a player, and I really want to see that come into play. GG though, how do they respond to this?
I'm thinking, you know, the traditional stuff, right? You're already looking for, maybe hold your mid laner until the very end, get the Esmeralda for Arya at this point of time, because so far we haven't really seen any team say, you know what, I am willing to sacrifice a little bit of team fight power to win this lane against the Esme. They also pick up the Boxia, great pickup from Gen G, making sure they're covering their bases in terms of counter picks.
I like how we're seeing Esmeralda and the Baxia on the same side. Because usually when we see the Esmeralda, we do see that the Baxia is kind of a counterpick towards it. But they're really, you know, strengthening what they didn't really have in that first game is they have a really good front guard. Now, I'm expecting some really heavy hitters later on, perhaps, you know, the Gord again, if they want to go for that type of thing, despite it being a little bit more risky right now, as we do see the Hirara on the other side. Vitality, do they want to go ahead and pick up their gold laner? Now that the carry's been banned out, they can go ahead and pick up something like the Claude.
Very smart. They go for the glue instead. I like that. And they go for the Claude on top of it. I was thinking whether or not they wanted to show Yve within this first phase. If it was not Yve, it was definitely something plus glue. You called the Claude. We got technically half 50-50 on either side, but
nice.
Now it's that final one. This one, I can't figure it out, right? Because now that they have glue on the opposite side, it would really suck to have to go out of your way to play, unfortunately, Vexana, or the direct counter, in this case, Faramis.
Oh, you saw the Faramis yesterday. It didn't really work out.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And then it forces your team to get close together, and Hirara was like, all right, if you're going to get real close together.
Which is kind of bad, and especially like Claude, alt, AoE as well. Because I was thinking they could still pick up the Faramis, and then they ban out the Valentina, but I think the Lilia is still the better option. Because in this particular stage, it doesn't feel like there's any space for the Yve, considering you're up against both the Hirara as well as the Claude. I feel like the Lilia was the safest pick.
Yeah, I agree. And not to mention that this second half, I'm hoping that Gen G are the ones getting rid of this Yve, because Yve is kind of the only thing that kind of like keeps Gen G's current composition in place. Like, yes, you are worried that Esmeralda walks up to you, but I'm thinking that maybe Team Vitality, the fact that they left it open, they have to have something in store, right?
I agree. I think the Yve would be very detrimental to the success of the Esmeralda as well. I know she has, you know, faster cooldowns and she could rotate a lot quicker, but it's still a very risky play to want to play within the box of the Yve or the real world manipulation. So yeah, the Yve goes out.
Yve is down. I'm thinking whether Gen G is considering leaving the Valentina open, even though we don't see many big ults on the side of Team Vitality. And that's the thing, those last two picks I think has to be the either big initiator alongside with the glue, because glue could technically be flexed into the EXP. Not the greatest matchup into the Esmeralda, but at least you won't die.
That's true, that's true. I feel like Fumi Echo would like something a little bit more flashy though.
Give me the Lapu.
Yeah, she's been so, you know, flashy with her Lapu Lapu. There's so much attitude as well in her gameplay. I do want to see that maybe come to light once again. I think the hero that I was really thinking about for Gen G to kind of ban out in the second phase alongside the Yve would also be the Valier. Valier up against the Esmeralda, I think it would be a problem for the Esmeralda alongside the Baxia, but I don't know if they want to go full both bans onto Cine.
I would like to agree with you if I knew for sure that glue was going as a support. And that's the thing, right? No matter what, even if you have terrible mid lane matchups, your support makes such a difference in the 2v2 dynamic that it helps you say, you know what? If you take Concussive Blast, we clear this wave, let's just minimize how much damage we take. That's the way.
It's Valier.
Called it. It's just, I'm in disbelief. You don't very often get these correct, but when you do, it's so accurate that there's no argument to it.
It feels good. It feels good. I feel like an analyst today.
You get it now, right? You get why Wolf does this all the time.
It's so satisfying.
It's great. It's great. Wolf, clip that while you're at it. Now, Bruno, I think this is a little strange. Why go and look to get rid of a marksman bully in the Bruno? Because I have no logic to this. This just feels like either Cassius knows for a fact that Panda just does not want to get back onto the Granger again.
Or,
oh man, what could they possibly do? Irithel already out. Man, no more crit style marksmans.
So what do we have left? We've seen Clint as well a few times here and there. Technically, the Clint is a lane bully as well if you want to play the early game.
You're right.
Unless GG, do they really want to go back onto the Granger?
I don't think Granger is going to be used, especially since you already see Glue who can just absorb. Oh, never mind. Take it back. Never mind. They're going straight for Comfort here. Now, hey, I have nothing wrong with Comfort because if they win that game, nobody's going to question them about the logic.
But this means that they really need a very, very reliable roamer.
Yeah.
Okay, she needs to be able to clear fast, rotate fast as well, in order to help facilitate the snowball potential for the Granger. Or not, game one will happen all over again.
Yeah, or maybe Panda just somehow dumps their shell in the lane, which seems a little difficult because it was like Harry v Granger at that point of time. So technically it would be Granger favored in those matchups unless you messed up at like level 1 or level 2. Either way, I think that Vitality at this point...
This is a statement. This is a statement. Are we expecting Glue then now to go to the EXP lane?
No.
Umi.
Glue is going to be your support. Alice is going to be in the EXP because at least for Alice, she doesn't generate shields.
And you know what this means?
What does it mean?
This means that Cindy, in her interview earlier with Ashley, was talking about like the picks, and now she's the one on the Selena. Is this perhaps her way of saying, here's how to play the Selena?
Maybe that's possible. It's tough to say, but now Cho is on the opposite side. They have somebody who can block not only the arrows, but also isolate the targets. If the Throne of Ruin dismiss time, you could get kicked out of position. If Claude tries to go in, the Way of the Dragon could set up to make sure that this Granger gets the stacks.
And that's what we talked about, right? That's what we really needed. They wanted to go out of the rotations a lot quicker. They want to be able to really facilitate the Granger. This is a spicy draft reflection. We have Selena on the other side, and this time it's not Ashley, it's Cindy.
That's right, and maybe we'll hear in a post-interview if Cindy did it to specifically call out Ashley. It's getting deep in here, but the question is, will Gen G stay alive? Will they be able to finally take down their boogeyman of Vitality? Let's find out. Brigitte, Athena, take it away.
Match point is underway for Team Vitality up against Gen G as we are moments away from heading into game number 2. What a statement! I agree. What better way to close it out if not by winning through a pick that was unsuccessful for Gen G in game number 1. The Selena now in Cindy's hands.
That is a lot of confidence here for Vitality. And as you mentioned though, it's kind of a bit of a question mark still here for Vitality, right? But let's see, if there is a team that could make it work, it's going to be one of the strongest team or the defending champion. Now for Gen G, they go in for early aggression as well on the mid lane.
Yeah, Rui actually stole away a green camp from Vitality's side, whereas Vival just decided to get a green camp of their own. So basically both level 2, but that was a stolen jungle camp, and we're seeing a skirmish in as early as less than a minute into this game. Gen G is trying to be a bit more active. They did not want a repeat of game number 1.
They are playing right at where the level is Vitality when it comes to facing here on the early facing of our game, which is what we would love to see, right, for Gen G. Instead of them just going for the counter punches, we want to see them throw out the first punches and then do so onto punishing members here for Vitality. Now, looking back though here onto the composition for Gen G Esports, now they stay in with Ashley Show, and right on cue, she is forced out of her flicker.
Yep, a resource already down for Ashley, but at least they got resources elsewhere. City, close call too, but we'll get to dash away from that attempt from Gen G. And there isn't a significant advantage that we're seeing from both sides just yet. I'm surprised to even see that slight lead in favor of Vitality, because Gen G were able to steal away a couple camps, even the Little Wanderer falling into Rui's hands for that first jungle rotation. But I guess this is where things change. Yeah, first turtle up, and we're seeing only Vivian scouting the area for Vitality.
There's kind of a bit of a delay here for Ashley, only of level 2. But right on cue here for Arya, Falling Storm and committing onto Viva. And that is how she keeps her at bay as Gen.G attempts to get the turtle. It's going to be Sayori with the last hit, first blood as well. That's a great opener here for Gen.G, chasing down onto Fumi Echo. But still, that is a great statement start here for Gen.G.
Arya definitely wants to play this time. She wants to be the EXP later. She wants to be seen. This is a different hero that you've handed over to her, and it's going to make a huge difference. The way that she just made sure Vival could struggle to get close to the objective, and if not even just get close, but even put her down to below half HP, enough so Gen.G could actually get the kill. But Ashley, though, down bottom.
Okay, Chell is forced out of her Blazing Duet, but that is it. She just needs to survive the early facing Ashley's attempts. But going back onto Arya, we mentioned she's one of the best XP laners out here in the female team for female MWI teams. And so far, with her Esmeralda play yesterday, I think this also translates into how well she is when you give in a hero that could set up, could sustain, and as well give most of that punches in for Vitality.
Yeah, she's just not letting go of Vival. Vival's struggling to be the very high mobility surprise type of Hirara in this scenario where Arya's just always trying to stay around her. That was close for... that looked like an attempt for Gen.G, but they didn't really push through. Probably also got to see Vivian around the area. And now let's see how Vitality are dealing with this rotation.
This is how they deal with it. They just steal off orange buffs against Gen.G, and that's how they slowly build up their momentum. Sayori with a clutch black shoes. Vivian onto the back lanes. That was a really close call. High-risk plays here for Gen.G so far.
Yeah, but we're yet to also see how they're really able to convert the threat of the Selena yet again. Mostly, majority of the action is coming in from Arya. It's from Gen.G. Vitality seem to be waiting for that opportunity to get at least a grab or maybe even land an arrow.
So now the plan for Vitality is to send in Fumi Echo, but that's not looking good. But no, that is a great Throne of Ruin. Pandemon caught in the crossfire. Rui Force with a Turtles Passant. It's all over for her as Fumi Echo and Vivian doubles down. It's a double kill for Fumi Echo. The turtle is left untouched. Now there's an action here coming from Vitality.
A 2-0 for an Alice early on. Arya still trying to be an annoying Esmeralda in her face, but this is Vival most probably still getting to secure the objective. No! She didn't have her retribution at the time.
Okay, it paid off for Arya.
Yes, it was very worth it. Now they do have the retribution, but the turtle is up. Gen.G and Vitality could both make their way to this objective if they wanted to, but things seem to be different for Vival. They might not risk it, not unless they find an opening. But it's so far just really Arya and Fumi Echo zoning them all out.
They're really considering onto giving up the turtle altogether. They just want to interrupt the whole process here for Gen.G. If we could get the turtle, so can you, right? And for Gen.G, they're attempting to somehow zone out the members of Vitality here. But Fumi Echo and Vivian is just not having any of it. Now it's Ashley targeting on Vival. She's just zoning them out, sitting onto the side. Arrow and traps are there, but the damage just isn't enough to get a kill. Fumi Echo with a Crimson Gleam going in. Vival clutches to get the turtle alongside Vivian here. Sayori forces out onto her black shoes. Fumi Echo buying enough time to just delay things up here for Gen.G. That was quite the messy of initiation here for Gen.G.
Yeah, Fumi Echo. That was Fumi Echo just making sure that it was a better scenario for Vitality to just commit to the objective. The way that they again forced Rui out, put her down to very low HP, and all just by being an Alice that's standing in the way. This is a 2-0 Alice that you're talking about, just picking up the Radiant Armor too, so that adds to an additional layer of sustainability that you will have trouble dealing with if you're Gen.G. At this point, I feel like they might not have enough resources to deal with it head on, as we could take a look at the items eventually, but Vitality, there you go. At least they have a glowing wand in Sayori.
And that's it. That is the kit that she needs to actually punish onto Vitality. Bought a kick here for Ashley, but Vivian Ifumieko tries to get away. Damage just isn't giving it here for Genji. And you just mentioned the Vitality. All they needed to do is force out Genji out of mispositions here. And there are numerous healthy resources here exhausted, such as the flicker for Ashley, and for Vitality. Things just keep getting better. Shell got the most out of her zone onto the bottom side. That's a hefty amount of gold advantage that Vitality was able to get in 7 minutes into the game.
Yep, and I feel like Genji could have also went for more aggressive setups if only there weren't as much information. I know we haven't seen much of the arrows just landing yet from City, but I think the placements are also something that matter in this game. The way that they're always just able to scout, the movements from Genji, similar to what we saw just now, is being very pivotal in how this game is playing out. Oh, the arrow now lands onto Rui.
Okay, that's a very crucial take here for Cine. Ashley commits onto the wave of Dragon. Cine immediately taken out here by Arya. Shell finds a great opening with a blazing duet, but Sayori with a single black shoes will be able to survive that. Panta 1 being cornered, of all people, taken down. The gold laner for Genji is down. Now they don't have enough damage to actually tore down the defenses here for Vitality. The Lord is left alone. It's still Vitality coming up on top, finding the right targets and angles against Genji.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest concerns we had for the draft as well. Genji, they do have setup, they do have pick-off potential, but can they actually provide the right amount of damage? Arya, oh, the knockups!
She might not make it. Fumieko hot on her tails. Ashley in an instant taken down. This is just too much to handle. They're coming in one by one here from Genji.
Yep, now it's Vitality. Oh, with the control over this objective. Rui has some information, can potentially catch up to. This is a backer that we're talking about after all, but will they let them through? Vivian blocking the way as much as they can, as well as Fumieko.
Oh, it's still people getting on to the Lord. Arya finds her way in, but won't find her way out. As Vitality takes her down, that's a 5k gold lead. An objective onto Vitality. All in all, that isn't any in favor or pros from Genji. They've got nothing out of it.
It seems like they still wanted to force the fight, however. It seems like they still at least wanted to get the attention of Vitality, maybe momentarily stop them from at least focusing on the objective, but Vitality refused to do so. They were just making sure that they will be able to secure the objective nonetheless, especially with Rui out of sight. If there was anyone who was actually able to approach, it was just either Arya, it was just either Ashley. But Rui was the main problem, and they need not worry about that. Okay, now it's the Lord.
Oh, okay. I just saw Ashley activate the flicker just to try and cross that big boulder. I think that is huge info here right now for Vitality.
Yeah.
That is a huge giveaway right now, and Arya will have a hard time putting up on the front line here against Vitality. Yet again, they're down to the last bits of their base turret. It might even explode with the next bit of minion waves that Vitality was able to control. To BH, the macro isn't really that giving here for Genji. It's all about the map awareness, map control, all onto the side of Vitality. Ashley gets a kick onto Vivian. There's going to be a follow from Arya, but a falling star, but not the damage. The respo, it's just isn't there yet. Vival goes in with a clutch play. Shaw with a free hit. The two women down here for Genji. They go at it again. Double kill yet again here for Vival. What a way to scout out the members from Genji.
The coordination from Vitality. A single failed attempt from Genji is what cost them these 3 kills and possibly even a base turret that will go over to Vitality. The moment that they saw the way of the dragon already down and that multiple members of Genji were out of their base, they took that opening, that beautiful Throne of Ruin, that entry from Vival and the arrows from City, but Arya wants to fight again.
Okay, that is quite a successful play here for Genji. They're just brute forcing their way in. It's Fumieko being cornered out. There's going to be a dashing out. Okay, the bullets will hit from Panda 1, but an immediate response here for Gen.G. They're still alive and kick. 2 core damage here from Vitality. I think that is fruitful enough. The risk was worth it for them. But still, for Vitality, they're trying to survive. Ashley from the back! With a great way to dragon onto Cine. But still, they weren't able to burst her down. Survival at its finest here for Vitality.
The question remains, do they have enough to burst down whoever Ashley eventually finds? Because they burned the flicker for that kick. You would assume they could, because that was Cine who they were actually able to find. But even with the bullets landing, even with Panda actually providing the follow-up, it didn't seem like they had enough. What more if things get a bit messier in the team fights? And we're just talking about a 5k gold lead currently in the hands of Team Vitality. More so, once we actually scale into the latter portions of the game, once Gen.G actually gets to prolong it to that point, do we expect that the Ranger could actually deal with everything? The Skypiercer stacks aren't even handed over to him. It's not like he could just put herself forward. It's Arya who's actually just trying to force their way through, open up a bit more of the map, and try to create space when there are actually team fights going on. But other than that, this is going to be a tough task for Gen.G.
That is the reality. And to answer the question on whether Panda will be enough, I don't think it will be. Because for now, Vitality still has most of the gold, most of the damages, plus they're really having a hard time committing onto getting the right targets. And now there's also Lord in the mix. They're burning it down as fast as possible, but Vitality is just waiting for those arrows to hit, and that might be it. Now Gen.G needs to be really careful on where and when they should commit Ashley's flicker, even the Way of the Dragon. 5 seconds next before they go in with a blitz clutch play. It's Vival trying to run away. Arya getting caught in the crossfire, but Foamy Echo does it again. She forces out Panda out of position. Vitality brute forces their way in. Foamy Echo yet again on the front lines. Panda evaded time down. Vivian Shell with a blazing no and Panda and Ashley in a very hefty position. But they will do it. They will still survive. Defend their fervor base, and Vitality won't be able to end game number 2.
Vivian was brought back to the fountain, and Panda looked like it was about to really get bad for her, but even then, she was also able to just regain her HP back, and that was a successful attempt from Gen.G to defend and prolong this game. That's what we're talking about. Finally, they also get to pick up a stack for themselves for the Skypiercer. We take a look at that replay where it did feel like they were just trying to intercept and make sure that Gen.G weren't the ones who were actually going to start things up. And that was a beautiful way of just forcing Sayori and Panda out of position, as you mentioned. But Sayori was quick to also re-engage, get back, zone them out, and Ashley with the mobility too. But Vitality are not letting go of this.
Okay, for Gen.G, they don't care how expensive it will be just to get a kill. As long as they get it, as long as they get the job done, they will take it. Vitality now has somewhat having a hard time to actually finishing off this round, because now Sayori and Panda is getting harder to catch from the back lanes.
It is. 30 seconds before the next flicker of Panda comes back. Sayori does need a minute to get her Purify back too. And there's only 10 seconds before we actually see the next objective. Gen.G want to get out of their base. Gen.G actually want to make something happen. But Cine already spots Arya, and they have a pretty decent amount of info. Enough to know that Gen.G are planning to do so.
Plus, Vitality knows that Gen.G has to send someone over onto the top lane. They still have the control over the map. And for Gen.G, they have 2 things in mind. First, clear off the waves onto the sides. Plus, try and prevent things from de-escalating here from Vitality. But Arya goes in.
Okay.
That was a very risky call here. If she was caught, if she was dead, that would have been the end here for game number 2.
Oh no!
But that might be it. Rui! What an expensive overstay there. Just when Vitality finally gets a Lord.
Taking advantage of the fact that they saw Ashley dealing with the waves up top too. They've just blitzed the Lord. And what better way to close that out by finding a kill onto one of their most crucial front lines, their jungler Rui on the Baksha. How many times have we seen that happen? But does Vitality close it out here?
Okay, that made it even better here for Vitality. Fulmi Echo from the back. Panda is forced to flicker her way out for survivability. Ashley as well. They can do nothing but stare back. It's Vitality forcing their way in again. And they go in. Ashley is being held over here by Vivian. And they focus fire onto the tower as Vitality secures the 2-0 against Gen.G.
And the results of the rematch remain the same. Team Vitality sweep Gen.G to punch their ticket to the knockouts. And they do it in a very dominant fashion. You expect nothing less from the Queens of MLBB. But the way they had to do it with a Selena, I feel like I'm still going to be thinking about that until I get to bed.